congratulations on the film.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This film made me laugh, but I'll tell you, I found it kind of melancholy, sort of at the same time. And I wonder if there's a certain age that you hit when you, as an audience or as a viewer of this movie, that you'll find a little tinge of sadness to this, because it is about looking back and things changing. Do you see that in there at all?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what the movie is about. Is you've got like sort of 5 friends, like 4 of whom are grown-ups, one of whom wants to be a teenager again, and when he tries to turn back the clock, it has disastrous results. So it's kind of like a cautionary tale about the dangers of nostalgia. Mm-hmm. So that's what the movie's really about. So, you know, I think we like that thing as well, because I think sort of Shaun of the Dead had this as well, where they were like sort of, you know, sections that were darker, and I think that's more just about hopefully having the courage of our convictions. So we like to think of these movies as that there's a Trojan horse element in terms of there's a zombie film, a cop film, and a sci-fi film, but we've smuggled in this relationship comedy. It's like we like to think that we've given the audience a chocolate bar, but we forgot to tell them it was dark chocolate with chili inside
It's
it.
a red chili inside. So it's only when you're halfway through you think, I think, you know,
I never tire of your mouthful of chocolate face.
because I'm also looking at someone unseen who's also eating a piece.
And they always do.
But also I think it's that 40 is such a landmark for certainly for men, certainly for me, you know, you're just questioning everything all the time. Mm-hmm. You know, I've just had a baby, so it's, you know, how much longer am I going to live? Did I do all right? Is my house big enough? Is my house too big? Am I happy? Is that the only woman I'm ever going to be with again? You know, it's just questions. I know you might laugh, but it is these questions, you know, and I think this film is that the chance to go back and look, but it's at what cost? You know, you have to be. I think you can only look back and enjoy. You know, you can only enjoy looking back if you have a solid foundation to pull you back to now. You know. Right.
There's a lot of imagery in the movies, and even it's spoken aloud of like you've got to go forwards and not backwards. And then one of the action scenes is about one of the characters running the other way, and like his friend going to get him to take him the other way. It's like you've got to push forwards. One person is kind of really trying to go backwards in time through the use of alcohol, and the other person is trying to sort of fight to have a future. You know.
Well, it's interesting too, because I guess one of the other little chilies in the chocolate is the idea that there's a couple of the pubs, you've said, you know, a good chunk of the movie is set inside pubs, and a couple of them look kind of exactly the same. There's a joke that's early on in the movie. And but I thought, you know, it's like all sort of great jokes, there's more to it than just a giggle. And I thought that it was a comment on the changing culture of Britain, how pubs used to be kind of the cornerstones, I think, of British society and British culture in a lot of ways, and now they look often like franchise, you know,
because they are, you know. I think it's that thing of like there's a theme throughout all of the movie, not just the idea of growing up, of like the adults being in sort of jobs, and even just what the baddies represent. The same as the pub is this idea of loss of identity, and it's something I think that a lot of people struggle with. Is that it's even that thing like what the villain, you know, the aliens in the movie are offering is essentially sort of beneficial to human. But it's like, do you want to be, you know, do you want to be perfect like them, or are you allowed to be flawed? And I think that sort of goes along with like the idea of like, it's the same over here in terms of like cafes and restaurants and like diners and like bars that get kind of bought up by a chain. Suddenly you start to feel like you're, you know, wherever you go, you're in the same place. So I think that's something that's sort of like a virus throughout Europe, and it's the same in North America. You know, it's just the idea of like, these bars all look exactly the same kind of menus, same kind of typography. You know, I have near my house in London, I have about 10 pubs in about each a minute's walk from each other that all look exactly the same. So I start to feel like I'm trapped in an M.C. Escher painting.
Are the hands painting one another? Or Well,
there's actually one of the paintings on the cross hands is exactly that.
Yeah.
It's all these interlinking hands,
And for you, Nick, do you feel the same way? You live in London, right?
I do live in London, I live in...
You're in an enclave.
I'm in an enclave. It's called Twickenham. And I think we're very lucky in as much as we have a lot of locals who've lived there a long time. So, we do have some chain pubs, but also we have a lot of family-run, fairly old, independent pubs who are fiercely independent, and the locals like it that way. So I'm quite lucky, but it also goes the other way where pubs are closed for ages, and then they're reopened and they're completely gentrified. So there's a certain that you might disagree with this, but I think the pub, even though it was the kind of cornerstone of British society, is also a place which is, I think it's fairly without class, in as much as, someone who is a lord can drink next to someone who sweeps chimneys, and they're both there having a pint, and I don't think there are many places in our society where that happens, but now with the gentrification of pubs, it's changing now. It's becoming a place where you have to go with your family, and they're serving foie gras on sourdough toast, which is fine. I like foie gras on sourdough toast, but I think my issue is what happens. Where does the chimney sweep drink now? Those places are disappearing.
You give me an idea of a sort of prequel set in 1890, Ye Olde World's End.
Foie gras chimney sweep.
When a lord and a chimney sweep team up to battle robots.
Yes.
Like that. Lord Snooty and his...
to battle Frankensteins.
To battle Frankensteins.
And the foie gras mysteries.
I would pay to see that movie.
Yeah, it'd be amazing, right?
That's very fun.
Good stuff, thank you.
2018 it's out.
All right, yeah.
Thank you.
I'll be there. I'll be first.
TIFF. We're going to play it at TIFF first.
Yeah. Midnight Madness.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks.
What's that
Thank you.
down there?